morning. It is Saturday. Thank you for your patience in me not getting a video linked over last night. When there's a late day or a late evening with work or kids or chores running long or whatever, it means it's difficult to get in here. So, happy Saturday. I hope you're looking forward to your second CSA delivery. I just wanted to send a little bit of information, at least maybe some visual of what's coming in your share this week. I know that I sent over a text. Something from the garden. A text with everything that's coming, but this way you get to see it perhaps and then lay eyes on it so that you know what's coming in your bag. First things first, so I am literally out mid-harvest. I've got a few things done already and David's inside washing everything up. In case you have any questions about that ever, we don't spray like pesticide on any of our vegetables. So anything that we use is considered organic rated. Sometimes we do have issues with bugs in here, so we do use like a insecticidal oil, but all of that is okay for consumption and rated as an organic practice. So when we wash, we're kind of just getting like that surface layer of bugs, dirt, dust, anything that might go, ugh, if you saw it come out in your bag. That's not to say that there's not any bugs, dirt, or dust on your vegetables. I have a tendency that we give our stuff like a quick rinse. When I have head lettuce especially, I do rinse those individually because sometimes things get stuck down in the crevices. But otherwise, like arugula, fennel, kale even, for me, those things are washed enough that I just go ahead and eat them. But this is your choice, your food, however you'd like to do it. But if you like to make your life a little easier, just know that we do give everything a nice cold bath, get it bagged up, and that way, hopefully it's easier for you to use. So the things that are coming in your share, this is, I'm not sure in a video, very pretty, but this is one of the heads of bib lettuce. I know last week you had a romaine, or 2 weeks ago you had romaine. So I try and change the variety of what we're getting. So it's not the exact same thing every single week. So this bib lettuce is kind of a something different. I actually really like it. It has a different texture to me. It's much more buttery, I will say, than a romaine. The next thing is, I'm just pulling one little leaf off, arugula. So you had a bag of arugula last week, 2 weeks ago. Pardon me while I move past these sunflowers. And by the way, I'm hopeful that these are coming in as a special little thing in a couple of weeks, but this was a trial, like, will it work? So arugula will be coming as well. Hopefully at the end of this video, if you stick around, I will offer some additional ways that you can use arugula that isn't just in a salad, so that you don't feel like, ugh, another bag of arugula. Or maybe you're like, sweet, another bag of arugula. So lettuce, arugula, and then hopefully you can see this back here. This is fennel. You'll have a few bulbs of fennel in your share as well. And I will link some, talk about some ideas, specifically ways that you can use the arugula and fennel together to maybe do something a little bit different. But there's tons of ideas online. So I'm gonna pause here and then pop over to the other tunnel and finish things up, because those are the three things coming out of this space. Okay, so it's really incredible looking in here. It's amazing to me how from 1 week to the next, when you don't see something every day, how different it can end up looking. And especially now when I'm expecting like not much for progress or growth just because of the time of year. I know things go slower. I'm still always like, whoa, whenever I pull the frost fabric back. So that is what all that white material is. We have our vegetables in unheated high tunnels. So a high tunnel is like a greenhouse, but a greenhouse has supplementary heat. And so we do not heat this space, but the fact that it's covered, it means it has an extra layer of frost protection inherently. And then as it's getting cooler, and especially as it's getting cooler and the days are getting shorter, we see our growth slow down. That's what happens from winter solstice, like from summer solstice to winter solstice, back to summer solstice. Daylight is changing. I think I mentioned this on the last video. And growth slows down. Temperature, light, all impact that. And so one way we help protect our plants from bugs and add a little bit of extra warmth, especially this time of year, because I want things to really be growing. And then when we hit our 10-hour day and really nothing's growing, it's just hanging out, a way I can help maintain it, preserve it, make it last longer, is the frost fabric goes on top. It adds something like, I think 4 to 8 degrees extra. The high tunnel can be anywhere probably from 10 to 20 degrees warmer than outside. It just depends on the sunlight, wind conditions, how opened up it is. So at any rate, it's a job taking the fabric off every day. And so we don't take it off every day, but like on harvest days, I get to pull it back and see it, and it's really exciting. So I forgot to bring an acorn squash in here. I think y'all know what an acorn squash looks like. It looks like a little acorn, but it's a squash. So that is coming in your share this week. There should be 2 of them. Unless they're really huge, I'm putting 2 of them in there. The next thing I wanted to point out is this purple bok choy. Bok choy is an Asian vegetable. It's in what is called the mustard family. To me, it doesn't have like a super sharp taste like greens, like collards or mustard greens, but it's in a similar kind of family classification as that. So you'll get a head of purple bok choy. I just think this is a really beautiful vegetable, so I hope you at least enjoy that part of it. And then additionally, between a couple of different spaces right here, I have curly leaf kale, green curly leaf, and then there's some larger, just like flat leaf kale. So it'll be a mixed bag of kale, large leaf. So a few ideas of what you can do with all of the things coming in your share this week to try and pull it together into something, if you'd like help with that. If you're getting meat, 2 packages of ground sausage. It's bulk sausage, not seasoned, so it really can be used for anything from breakfasty type foods to Italian dishes to however you want to use sausage. There'll be 2 packs of that, and then if you have eggs with your vegetable share, you'll be getting eggs as well. One of the things that I kind of had listed was a pizza. Sorry, I was watching a bug crawl around. Is a pizza, and it would be like a homemade pizza, maybe a little fancier than what you're used to. Something different for sure, because it would use the arugula and the fennel. And so a recipe I saw online was, you would use some kind of maybe like a pesto-y kind of sauce, not a traditional red sauce, but something maybe like a pesto. Throw some mozzarella cheese down. You could braise, saute some thinly sliced fennel, the bulb, and then put that on the pizza, bake it until it's done, and then when you're pulling it out, throw a handful of like chopped arugula on top of it. Sausage would be really great on that too if you'd like to make something with the sausage, so that's an option. Another idea that I saw with the fennel and bok choy was, it was like an Asian dish. It had like a lo mein kind of noodle with it, but it wasn't really a soup. But it used a butternut squash, which you could sub the acorn squash for, and then bok choy and fennel. So if you'd like that recipe, I'd be happy to link it to you. I have not tried that, but it was one of those things I was like, that's really interesting when I went out to Google to find out what was what. A standalone that I always do in our household, probably at least once every 2 weeks, would be something like a breakfast frittata. I don't particularly care for pie crust, so I don't do a lot of like traditional quiche, but frittata is basically the same thing. And if you're getting sausage, or if you'd like sausage, let me know. Sausage, kale, cheese, eggs. You could easily throw some of the squash, like if you had it sauteed and chopped into smaller pieces, and make a nice little breakfasty kind of casserole. We do breakfast for dinner regularly, so that would be an option as well. for what it's worth, kale is by far one of my most favorite vegetables. And the reason for that is it's good, it's healthy, it tastes good to me. It's very easy to cook as a side dish. I am trying to make sure that my kids eat vegetables regularly, right? And myself included in that, actually. But also that it's something manageable. And so kale leaves, rough chopped, throw it in a pan that you've got either butter or olive oil in, quick saute, garlic, salt, pepper. It's a super easy side. It's a way to use up a nice good sized bag of kale if you aren't really quite sure what to do with that much of it, and something that if you don't want to eat it just raw with salads. With the butterhead lettuce, you could easily use the leaves of that because they're kind of that cup-shaped leaf to make some kind of a wrap. Something simple would be like the bok choy sauteed, sausage, put some rice in with it. You could easily throw the acorn squash in there, wrap it all up and use that as a meal idea. And then the stuffed acorn squash is kind of a tried and true as well. Cut them in half, scoop out the seeds, bake them to get them soft, and then you can stuff them back with sausage. You could add the bok choy, you could add the kale, cheese, rice, quinoa, whatever kind of like grain thing you want to put in there, just enough to warm that back up inside of it, and it makes a really tasty, you could do it as a side dish if you needed to, but a really tasty meal option as well. As far as the fennel goes, fennel's kind of a weird vegetable. It's not like a standard, I would say. This will be the only time we have it in the share. It was just something that, like, I enjoy having things that are a little bit oddball. And fennel bulbs are traditionally what's used. So if you're going to do that pizza idea, the bulb at the base is what you're going to use to slice up and braise. But the stalks can be used similar to celery. So if you're going to do anything like a soup, you could easily use the stalks. And then the top, the little frilly fronds, that is an herb. You might taste it before you start throwing it all over your food, because to some folks it has a really strong licorice taste. It doesn't taste that strong to me, but I can smell it more than I can taste it. And so maybe that's not your jam, maybe you don't like that, or maybe it is, and it's something that could easily go on like a pasta dish on the top of it. A friend of mine who's in the CSA sent me a picture this week, and she did a basic like pasta noodle, buttered it up, had sauteed fennel in it, and then took the fronds and sprinkled it over the top, so there was just a little something extra on there, and she said it was really good. You could add sausage to that, you could add some other kind of meat to that. So I hope that gives you a few ideas for what you can do this week. I'm gonna get going because I gotta finish getting stuff cut, washed, bagged up, and ready to rock and roll. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out and let me know. We are very grateful that you are participating in, that you bought into the CSA this year. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're looking forward to veggies this week, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.